Thanks. I'm going to need a little of your help back there. Thanks. So it was a 3:30 wake-up call for me to get on the plane to make it to this tonight. So the last thing I want to do is for you all to have to sit here and wait for this PowerPoint. So I'll deliver this real old school. I've got the notes right here, and we'll just get going. And if this thing kicks in, great. And if not, I actually have pictures of my kids' vacation at Cape Cod when they were young. It's really wonderful, and just so that we'll have something that we can watch. It's on a DVD, so I'll make copies for all of you later on. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here. I'm honored to have been asked to come in, and I'm grateful that you stuck around. And I know that many of you are camping, and so this is the warmest you're going to be for hours and hours, and that's why you're here. But that's okay. I'm cool. What I'd like to do is I'd like to spend a little bit of time and answer 3 questions. And if my PowerPoint had been working, black and white or not, I would have told you that I want to focus on what the heck is happening in the world. It's going to jump off of some of the things that Pam was saying. I want to talk about where can we look to find hope. And then I want to talk about what can you do, or what can we do. This address is intended to focus on people under 35, let's just say. So at the point of, you can shut that down, Brent?
Yeah.
Really, it's not, at this point, you're going to be doing that. And
okay.
This could be, what I have to say could be so much more important than the semicolon. I just don't want you to miss it.
Got it.
I mean, the semicolon was B League. This is A game right here.
Thanks.
All right, so what the heck is going on? Pam alluded to the fact that for many of us, the world that we're living in right now is somewhat chaotic. It oftentimes doesn't feel that way depending on what our generation is. But the reality of the situation is, I'm a social scientist. The institutions that we count on to support us worldwide are failing. Doesn't matter whether you look at education, Mike talked about therapy, it doesn't matter what institution you want to look at. The institutions that we are counting on are failing us. As Pam alluded to, we're really on the threshold of a virtual Armageddon as far as the environmental issues are concerned. Believe me, this talk gets better. Nobody comes on at this time of night and leaves you in despair. So it's got to go up from here. But for many of us, I don't know if you feel the way I do, but for many of us, we feel like the best might have been behind us. Americans, by and large, and it's being acted out in this presidential debate, in this presidential campaign, Americans are really on the threshold of trying to make a decision. Is the best behind us? And is our role in the world now to hold on to it? So unlike just the thumb wrestling, is it that we're just going to pin the freaking thumb down and hold it there and sit on it? Is that what it's all about? The good news is, and the reason why we're all here, is because we are on the threshold of a renaissance. Pam talked about the idea that things are changing. You're damn right they're changing. We're on the threshold of a renaissance. A renaissance is when there is a sudden change in the way people perceive the world. It's not the first time. You remember studying in high school about the Renaissance. When people were going through it, they didn't know it. People weren't like going to cafes and going, "How's your Renaissance?" I'm loving this Renaissance. This is so much fun. I mean, years from now, people are going to look back and they're going to go, "Shit, man, I wish I was there for that." No, it doesn't happen that way. But what happens is there is a universal belief and a universal understanding that it's not working. The hope that you should feel, and the hope that I feel as a social scientist, is that every time that happens, we evolve. We evolve as a species. We do things differently. It would be illogical for us to assume that we wouldn't evolve. So when people give us the doomsday forecast, including our mutual friend Dennis Meadows, I go right at it. Of course that's possible, but it's not likely. We will evolve. And the reason we're going to evolve is because of people like us. So where can we look to for hope? I want to talk a little bit about memes. M-E-M-E-S. Has anyone ever heard that? Unbelievable. This is great. I love it. What does that mean? No, I'm just kidding. All right, memes. Memes are a total orientation about how you see the world. We're used to looking at people in terms of silos, like think of Pringles cans. All right, so let's have all the Catholics in one can. Let's have all the gays in another, and let's take all the Buddhists and put them in this, and all those people that like Chevys. They go, we're used to lumping people together in terms of what they like or how they're similar. But actually, if you cut across those cans, you'll find out that people from different orientations, from different cans, are more like each other than they are like the things in their own can. We represent that in here. We are more like each other, even though, for one thing, this is homecoming. We're here. We're not totally blotto out on the football field. I mean, not that anyone will drink to excess this weekend. It won't happen. But if it did happen, I'm just saying, if it did happen, so we're linked together. So memes. This renaissance that I'm talking about requires us. It depends upon us. I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to give you a demonstration of memes. All right, we're in a Applebee's parking lot. We're hanging out with each other, and in comes a Lexus convertible. And out of the Lexus convertible steps this guy. He's 32 years old. He has black hair. He has a white starched shirt on. He's got gray slacks that have pleats in them with a very expensive belt. His hair is combed back, and it's got those lines in it like he might have combed it back with like a rake or something. He's got those shoes on, the shoes that only have like part of the toe of the loafer. It only comes up part of the way, as if someone took a chainsaw and whacked the other part off. He's doing that, and he's walking in. Have you got the picture of this person in your mind? Okay, open your eyes. That's a meme. Can you predict who he is with, who's his partner? Can you create in your mind an image of what the likely partner looks like for that person? Can you create in your mind what that person's going to do when they go into the voting booth? Can you create in your mind how they're going to tell their children about the value of competition or cooperation? All right, well, don't feel holier than thou. We're a meme too. I want you to close your eyes. Now imagine we're in Whole Foods parking lot and a Subaru arrives, and out of the Subaru steps someone with a pair of Carhartts on and Keen shoes or Sportivas. They get out and they've got a baseball hat that's worn fashionably in the front to the point where it's been frayed. Not sure whether it was actually dragged behind a bicycle or it actually earned that fray. But nevertheless, it's there. All right, so we're a meme too. Here's the question. If we're on a renaissance and if the world is going to be determined, one of those memes is going to be dominant. Now, I'm not into having an argument about the value of all of us. I love to go to Disneyland. I sing It's a Small World. I love it. But the reality is, in the world that we're facing, you are going to be more important. And I'm going to tell you why. First, you have demonstrated higher levels of moral reasoning than most people like you. PJ, Jim Petro, who is from here, I'm from Arizona now, PJ did a study to find out that outdoor education majors have an unbelievably high level of moral reasoning when compared to business majors, when compared to pre-law students, when compared to history students. So just your innate notion of what's right and wrong is better. You're almost uncorruptible in terms of your necessity for things. We don't buy a lot of things. We've got a Patagonia and we've got I have a Tacoma, okay, so shoot me. But I guess what I'm saying is, it's not, we get off on, it is true. I'm a college president, I got this at Goodwill. This is a true story. All of the jackets that I wore as a president, I got at Goodwill. We do that because it makes us cool. No, seriously. It's functional, but we know that's stupid. Many of you are old enough to realize that your parents, my generation, birthed a whole industry called storage units. We have so much shit that we don't know what to do with it. We have to store it in places. And so your generation knows that, and now you kind of like, no, that's okay. I actually don't need that. That'd be cool, but no, thanks. So you're almost uncorruptible. You're capable of appreciating cause and effect. One of the wonderful things about outdoor education is we understand cause and effect. If, as Brent was saying, or Mike was saying, if we give some instructions to someone and we say, you might want to think about where you're putting your tent, and the person goes, well, screw you, I'll put it wherever I want. And then we, as leaders, what we do, we just kind of go, okay. It's great. How'd that work for you? I was snug as a bug on a rug. How was your night? So we understand cause and effect. That's going to be incredibly important in the future. We're embedded within just communities, and this is so important. Kohlberg, who has done a lot of research on moral reasoning, talked about just communities. And just communities are places where when we show up, we're better just because we're part of that community. There is no doubt in my mind that this program, outdoor education at the University of New Hampshire, is a just community. People who are connected to this program, people who swim in this water with all of these wonderful people, end up being better as a result of being in that community. That's going to be another ingredient that's going to be helpful. Think of the iconic person that I described for you before. In my mind, it's likely that the person is not embedded within a just community. In my mind, I don't imagine that when he goes to work, he becomes a better person just because he's sitting next to someone who's also selling real estate. I don't have any disparaging comments about real estate. I'm just saying the reality is we are in these communities. We're willing to take risks. You probably, that's ubiquitous within our field. Sid Simon, the University of Massachusetts, who gave us values clarification, which every child 20 years ago had to have in their classroom, did a very important research. He tried to figure out what single characteristic is most closely associated with mental health. And he hypothesized that it was love and the ability to be loved. Loving and the ability to be loved. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd like that. That'd be really cool. Like if the world was that. Those people that can love and be loved, they have the highest level of happiness. He found out it was the ability to take risks. Now, I'm not talking about X Games. I'm talking about just putting yourself out, doing things a little differently, going where you've not gone before. We will do that. We understand that education may be part of the problem and not the solution. This is going to be huge as we go through the Renaissance. Education is definitively part of the problem in our country, and to the extent that it's exported around the world, it will become an increasingly global problem. We have an educational system that believes firmly that if you give people enough information, it will change their behavior. The University of New Hampshire, Prescott College, they're predicated on the notion that if I give you enough information, it'll change your behavior. And Mike, as a therapist, knows it doesn't work that way. If we needed more information about the hazards of smoking or why